Imagine sitting in a restaurant, exhausted, pregnant, and just wanting a moment of peace, when suddenly a waiter storms up, throws water in your face, and humiliates you in front of everyone. Now imagine what happens when her biker husband walks in. One of the most powerful lessons in this story is how quickly people judge others based on surface-level assumptions. The waiter saw a pregnant woman who appeared tired, slow, and possibly emotional. Instead of showing empathy, he interpreted her needs as complaints and her vulnerability as weakness. His assumptions shaped his behavior, leading him to believe he could treat her however he wished without consequence. In his mind, she was just another difficult customer, someone he could dismiss, disrespect, and even humiliate. He never paused to consider what she might be going through. Pregnancy is a time of physical discomfort, emotional stress, and increased sensitivity. A simple act of kindness, like offering water or seating her comfortably, could have made her feel supported, but his impatience turned into rudeness, and his rudeness escalated into outright mistreatment. The moment he threw water at her, he revealed the dangerous power of assumption, believing that because she looked vulnerable, he had the upper hand. What the waiter failed to understand is that every person carries a story and a support system you may never see. The woman wasn't just a customer, she was someone's wife, someone's partner, someone's soon-to-be mother of a child. By assuming she was alone and powerless, he set himself up for a reality check. Assumptions like his don't just lead to poor customer service. They lead to injustice, discrimination, and emotional harm. When people make quick judgments based on appearances or incomplete information, they risk hurting others and damaging their own integrity. This story highlights how vital it is to observe, understand, and respond with empathy rather than snap judgments. Because when assumptions rule behavior, the outcome is almost always destructive, for both the victim and the one making the assumption. The waiter's behavior reflects a classic example of how easily people can abuse power when they believe no one is watching or capable of standing up to them. In his position, he had control over the service experience. He could choose to respond with patience, kindness, or professionalism, but instead, he used his role to dominate and belittle someone he assumed had no power to challenge him. The pregnant woman was visibly exhausted and vulnerable, which should have inspired compassion. Instead, the waiter interpreted her vulnerability as an opportunity. He believed he had the authority to dismiss her concerns, to speak to her harshly, and ultimately to humiliate her publicly. Throwing water at her wasn't just an act of disrespect. It was an assertion of power, meant to put her in her place and remind her that he was in control of the situation. What makes this abuse even more striking is that it stemmed not from strength, but from insecurity. People who misuse power often do so because they crave a sense of superiority. They target those they believe are weaker, assuming they can act without consequences. This mindset is dangerous, not only because it hurts the victim, but because it exposes a deeper flaw in character, the belief that authority gives permission to act without empathy. The waiter forgot something fundamental. Power is not defined by job titles or temporary control. True power lies in how one treats others, especially those who appear vulnerable. His decision to use his position to harm rather than help revealed his lack of emotional maturity and professional integrity. This moment is a reminder that authority comes with responsibility. Whether in customer service, leadership, or daily life, the way we treat people when we hold power says more about us than any role we occupy. Abuse of power never elevates a person. It exposes their weakness. One of the most striking elements of the story is how stereotypes shaped the waiter's expectations, and ultimately destroyed his sense of control. When the biker husband entered the restaurant, the waiter's attitude shifted dramatically. In his mind, the biker's appearance, tattoos, leather jacket, strong build, fit a particular stereotype associated with aggression, intimidation, and volatility. The waiter likely expected an explosive confrontation, perhaps shouting or even violence, but what happened was exactly the opposite of what he assumed. This contrast highlights how stereotypes create false narratives. The same waiter who felt confident enough to bully a pregnant woman suddenly felt fear when confronted with someone who fit the tough biker image. Yet the biker didn't react with anger. He didn't flip tables or make threats. Instead, he displayed calmness, patience, and emotional control, qualities the waiter should have shown from the beginning. Stereotyping is dangerous because it blinds people to the truth. It causes individuals to project behaviors and attitudes onto others without any real understanding of who they are. The waiter assumed the woman was weak simply because she looked vulnerable. He assumed the biker was dangerous because he looked strong. Both assumptions were false, and both led him to misjudge the situation entirely. The irony is that the biker's calm and composed reaction exposed the waiter's deep misconceptions. The one person the waiter expected to lash out chose restraint, dignity, and reason. Meanwhile, the waiter, who viewed himself as the professional in control, had behaved in the most unprofessional and aggressive manner in the entire scenario. This reversal teaches a powerful lesson. Appearances are not indicators of character. Strength doesn't always look loud, and kindness doesn't always look soft. Stereotypes limit understanding, and they often cause people to misread others so completely that when reality reveals itself, it becomes a humbling, even humiliating moment. The biker's reaction in this situation serves as a powerful demonstration of real strength, strength expressed through calmness, not aggression. When he walked into the restaurant and saw his pregnant wife shaken, wet, and humiliated, he had every reason to explode in anger. Anyone looking at him might have expected a dramatic outburst, a confrontation, or even violence. But instead of reacting to assumptions others placed on him, he chose to respond with controlled composure. This is where his true power became visible. Calmness is often misunderstood as passivity or weakness, but in reality, it requires far greater discipline than anger. When emotions run high, anger is the easiest reaction. It comes naturally, instantly, and often uncontrollably. But choosing calmness in a moment of injustice is choosing to think instead of threaten, shows a level of emotional strength that many people never develop. The biker didn't raise his voice. He didn't make threats. He didn't attempt to intimidate the waiter, even though he easily could have. Instead, he asked a simple question: "Who did this to you?" The clarity and restraint in his voice became more intimidating than any shout could have been. His calm presence shifted the entire energy of the room. Everyone became silent, watching, waiting. His composure forced people to confront the seriousness of the situation without chaos or violence. This approach exposed the waiter's weakness. While the waiter relied on impulsive actions and emotional outbursts, the biker relied on self-control and authority that didn't need physical force. Calmness is powerful because it demands respect. It keeps the moral high ground and ensures that the focus stays on the wrongdoing, not on the reaction to it. In this moment, the biker proved that true strength is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. Respect for women is not optional. It is a fundamental moral expectation in every culture and every community. This story highlights what happens when that basic respect is ignored, especially toward a pregnant woman who deserves even greater sensitivity and care. Pregnancy is a time when a woman's body is under tremendous physical strain. She is carrying new life, dealing with discomfort, fatigue, hormonal changes, and emotional vulnerability. A simple act of kindness can make her day easier, while a single act of cruelty can deeply wound her confidence and sense of safety. The waiter's behavior demonstrated a complete disregard for these realities. Instead of noticing her exhaustion, her slow movements, or her need for patience, he interpreted them as signs of inconvenience. He treated her as if she were intentionally causing trouble, rather than simply trying to navigate the discomforts of pregnancy. By splashing water on her, he not only disrespected her as a customer, he attacked her dignity as a woman and as a mother-to-be. This lack of respect reflects a broader social issue. People often forget to show empathy to those who are vulnerable. Women, especially pregnant women, should be met with understanding, protection, and care. The biker husband's response reinforced this principle. His calm but firm defense of his wife's dignity reminded everyone watching that respect is not negotiable. He didn't defend her because she was fragile. He defended her because she deserved honor, appreciation, and kindness. Respecting women doesn't mean treating them delicately. It means treating them decisively better with patience, empathy, and awareness. It means acknowledging their strength while supporting them through their challenges. When society fails to offer this respect, it reveals more about our shortcomings than theirs. Every action we take sets a reaction into motion, and the waiter's choices in this situation proved that mistreatment always carries consequences, sometimes immediate, sometimes lasting, but consequences nonetheless. When he threw water at a pregnant woman, he likely thought he could walk away from the situation without repercussions. He assumed she had no voice, no support, and no power to challenge him. But consequences have a way of surfacing when least expected, especially when the harm is directed towards someone undeserving. The moment her husband calmly asked for the manager, the entire dynamic shifted. The waiter realized instantly that he had crossed a line that couldn't be erased with excuses or attitude. His actions were exposed in a public setting, and there was no way to justify splashing water on a vulnerable woman. The manager's arrival only made the situation more serious. Instead of brushing it off as a small incident, the manager understood the severity of the disrespect and acted decisively. The waiter's dismissal wasn't just punishment, it was accountability. He learned that authority cannot be abused without consequences. Losing his job was a direct reflection of how seriously his actions were taken. It sent a message to him, to the staff, and to every onlooker that disrespectful behavior is not tolerated. The consequences also extended beyond employment. His reputation suffered, his confidence crumbled. Moments like this often become unforgettable life lessons that follow a person long after the event has passed. This situation is a reminder that our choices define us. When we choose cruelty, humiliation, or aggression, we invite consequences that shape our future. But when we choose empathy and respect, we build trust, integrity, and positive relationships. Mistreatment may seem powerful in the moment, but it always collapses under the weight of its consequences. At the end of the day, this story is not just about a rude waiter, a pregnant woman, or a calm biker. It's about the kind of world we choose to create through our actions. Every moment we interact with someone, we are writing a small part of their story, either with kindness or cruelty. The waiter chose disrespect, and he paid the price. The biker chose calm strength, and he earned respect. And the woman, despite her vulnerability, showed resilience and dignity. Let this be a reminder to all of us: treat people with compassion, especially when you think they're alone. Respect people, even when it requires patience, and never judge anyone based on assumptions or appearances. Because every person you encounter has a story you don't know, battles you can't see, and people who love them more fiercely than you could ever imagine. Kindness costs nothing, respect builds everything, and empathy is the difference between breaking someone and helping them rise.